Hello everybody, Kid Boo X here. And today I'm going to be reviewing an old game called Yugioh Dungeon Dice Monsters. Now you may or may not have remembered it from the original Yu-Gi-Oh series, but it was a spin-off series of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. But this time you used dice instead of cards. And to be honest, the way it was set up was like literally, it was almost flawless. I mean, to be honest, for me, it definitely was flawless. It was a great idea, in a way, when they first introduced it. And they did come out with the game for the Game Boy, and it's you're going to be seeing me playing it. It was the Game Boy Advance. You're going to be seeing me playing it right now. To be honest, I've already played a little bit of it and gotten some good dice, so I could play the harder tournaments and everything. But yeah, this series actually did get released as a game. It also did get released as a board game, but for some reason, and I have no idea why, the game didn't do real well, which is really surprising, because the game is really fun, and it's a shock to me that something this fun didn't sell real well. And I'm here reviewing it. Now, the premises of the game is that the game itself, Dungeon Dice Monsters, is you use dice, and on the dice there are attack crests, defense crests, movement crests, which are basically, they all store in what you would call a mana pool, but it's a pool. You could store them up and use them. And okay, we're going to be facing Fender Shrill. Okay, it's a pool that you're supposed to keep track, or if you're playing the Game Boy Advance game, it keeps track for you. That whatever you roll, you get that in the crests. It's the attack, defense, movement, magic, and trap crests. They store in your crests, and there's also summoning crests, 1 through 4, I believe. I'm not sure that there's anything higher than that. I'm not because I've never seen anything higher than that. But 1 being the easiest to summon, 2 being it goes from there on, being the second hardest, 3, and then 4, and which is really interesting. Let's see. How do I describe this? What you do, in the series, and in the Game Boy Advance game, they roll the dice, and if you do get summon crests, you have to get more than, for example, say I roll 3 dice, and 2 of them out of 3 land on a 1 for a summon crest, a level 1 monster. You have to get 2 out of the 3 dice that you roll to land on at least a 1 to summon a monster. Otherwise, you don't get the summon. And the other crest at the end would be stored into your thing. So it's kind of interesting the way it is set up, actually. And as I said, it gets harder for each higher level monster you summon. And really, basically, that's about it for the summoning part. To get the best monster you want to have 3 1s, 3 1 dices, or 3 level 1 dices, 3 level 2 dices, or 3 level 3 dices, and so on, and level 4. You want to try to do that to, if you're wanting to summon a monster, it will increase your odds of getting that monster. Yeah. And, it stores up your crests. Now, obviously, the attack and defense crests, that's simple right there. Attack crests, without them, you can't attack a monster. With a defense crest, without them, you cannot defend with a monster. Um, uh, and then movement crests. Without them, you can't move. And the thing of the game is the monsters, when they're summoned, they create pathways when they're summoned, and you're supposed to form a pathway over to your opponent's Dice Master, which is you. You have 3 heart points, which if you get say I get a monster to your Dice Master at the very end. It takes 3 turns total to make them lose the heart points, unless I have like 2 monsters or 3 monsters up at your Dice Master, but that hasn't happened to me yet before. So, yeah, you can only attack once with a monster, unless there's a monster with an effect that lets you attack more than once, which I haven't seen one yet, but there probably is. You have to form a path and to get to the opponent's other Dice Master. This is the only way you can win, and hit them 3 times, and then you win. A lot of the times, it ends up in a draw, which is, I mean, it doesn't really end up in a draw, but sometimes you can get in those situations where your opponent's a dick that he knows he's gonna lose, and he throws out a huge-ass defense monster out there, and none of your monsters can get past him, and he's defending your Dice Master. Well, technically that's stalling. I mean, it's not a rule, but technically that's stalling, and you basically would win because he can't win. He can't get to your Dice Master if like that defense monster's the only thing on the thing left. So you would technically win if you're doing rules like this. You know, basically, if you're yeah. Anyways, yeah. You get to choose the paths, the path shapes you can use to get to your opponent's Dice Master. As you can see, I've already there's different path shapes for each monster I've summoned. You get to choose how you want to get to them, like forward, left, right, you know, whatever. And a good strategy in the game is to block your opponent from summoning. Now it's a dick strategy, but it also you're supposed to basically get all the way over, and you could, the only way you can place a a pathway is if it connects if it connects off of one of your own pathways. But by doing this, it gives it, you know, the players a chance and everything. Anyways, one of the best strategies is to prevent your opponent from summoning. But you know, I usually just how I play is set up a defense at first, guarding my Dice Master from all sides, and then go for his Dice Master. And if there's a threatening monster on the field somewhere, I use my monsters like Swamp Battle Guard as the guy in very front to destroy the threatening monster, or Mystic Horseman, for example. Yeah, that's basically the whole game in a nutshell. And I'm really surprised that as I said, it didn't get as many sales as I thought it would, because it's a really, really fun game. Thing is, since it didn't get that many sales for the actual dice board, I mean the actual playmat, the pieces, the figurines, and the dice, you know, not the Game Boy Advance game. Yes, they have an actual form of it. Since it didn't sell well, those things have went up in price. I mean, really, really a lot. Since there's not that many and it didn't sell well, which, as I said, is really, really just, I don't know why it didn't sell well. But it's a fun game. But okay, I remember that. he summoned a chest that like doubles movement or something. Yeah, if you could block your opponent from summoning, that's one strategy. Then you can also let's see, just go straight for his Dice Master, which is the only way to win, really. And let's see, each monster has an effect, so it mixes it up a little bit. Some monsters don't, some monsters do. Which I'm not going to talk about effects. You could do some research. Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon Dice Monsters effects. They will help your pool, your monster pool, which that's what it's called. It's not called a dice deck or a deck or anything because it's not cards. You could help. You can help your monster pool by arranging them to benefit your own, depending on your own monsters, depending on the effects, which basically is the whole premise of the game. Have a good dice set that benefits you, and no matter what, get to the Dice Master and take out its 3 hearts. And yeah, that's about all to do in the game. I'm trying to think of anything I forgot, but I don't really remember if I did forget anything. Let's see here. Oh, I do know that the price for the actual Dungeon Dice Monsters set, one of the prices I've found for an unopened one is like $100+. Yeah, it's really, as I said, it didn't sell well, and it's really rare. And there's an unopened one selling for like $100+ right now, and the board itself with all the cards and the figures, not the Game Boy Advance game. But yeah. Let's see here. If you watch the show, you know that Yugi, that Dark Magician's one of the monsters. Of course, they had to make that. Summon Skull is etc. like Twin Knight Swords or whatever his name is. Neither Twin Swords. But it's a really, really fun game, and as I said, I'm really shocked it didn't do well. Okay, I swear there's... Oh yeah, and there's also, instead of monster crests, yeah, monster dice, there could be item dice, which you could summon an item. Like you saw that guy summon a chest, and it increases his movement per monster, I guess. You could summon like chests that like increase movement. You could summon chests that have traps in them and have your opponent thinking it's something good, and they'll go for it, and it could do something from like destroy their monster or like destroy one of their crests in their pool. There's also a portal that Yugi used in this series, that if you put one at your side and one near the dungeon, your opponent's Dice Master side, it's the best way. You could teleport one of your monsters closer, like instantly. It's a pretty good strategy in that sense, and there's stuff like mines that like you can hide on the map and hope your opponent doesn't remember where it was, and if their monster gets on it, it will like instantly destroy their monster, and like lands on this spot. And there's just all types of stuff. Like there's even Exodia's in this game, and he does operate like he does in the actual card game. But you have to summon all 5 of his pieces on the field, and then you win. You know, that's just that. But if you're getting the game, if you like it's as I said, it's a good game and you should really try it. And I'm surprised it didn't do better than it did. And if you're getting the game, it's a Game Boy Advance game. To be honest, it'd be a little cheaper, but you would have to work, unless you have some type of cheating device. You would have to work to get everything, every dice that you want or need and everything. I don't know all the dice. It's just like I don't know all Yu-Gi-Oh cards ever invented. Like, it's impossible. I mean, I think it's probably possible, but, you know, I'm just not up to date on everything like that. But you'd have to do the research on your own, what you want and everything. And, let's see, and let's see, if you do get the actual version and not the game for the Game Boy Advance, it'll cost you a pretty penny because they're rare and hard to find. And as I said, one unopened version of the game is selling for at least $100, which is really crazy. It comes with everything at the start. Like, it comes with dice. I think some type of counter to keep track of your mana pools, your crests in your pool. It comes with a few monsters and the board and the pieces. And then to get the monsters you want, you gotta pay extra because not all the monsters come with the starter kit for it. So, and there's all types of monsters, like Curse of Dragon and etc. And speaking of, as I said, I don't like to go into monster effects, but some monsters have a flying attribute, which is really interesting. And they can't be hit by anything that doesn't either have flying or that doesn't either have reach. Which, well, that's basically magic terms, but in this Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon Dice, it's called archery. And I have a monster in my mana pool for the for the game. Sorry, I was coughing. For the game, and they actually can hit flying types, because you could do some awesome strategy like put a high-level flying type right in front of your monster, and if they don't have a flying type or a monster with archery, they can't do shit. They can't even attack your dice monster if he's in the way. And you want to put all your defense monsters right in front of your let's see. You want to put all of your defense monsters right in front of your dice monsters. You know, the ones with higher defense and everything. And then all your higher attack monsters go obviously up front. And then effect monsters you can put up in the front line. But did I say attack? Your effect monsters you can put up in the front line, but it's best to keep them back because most of their effects help your monsters out in a way. And you keep them back, and they're like, you know, they can heal, they can increase your attack, they can all types of stuff. But this game is really fun. I do wish myself I had the actual board game, and hopefully I'll be able to get the money to get the board game, because it's a really fun game. It's Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's different. And if you just watch the show, the Dungeon Dice Monster episodes, you'd understand. But I kind of did a pretty good job describing the whole game myself. You know, or you could also do your own research online and, you know, see what's in it for you and if you like it. I mean, it's not for everyone, but I'm, as I said, surprised it didn't do better than it did, because it's a good game. Like, it really is. And how Konami Konami was very creative. Back then, they were really creative. And they made this game, and I say it should have done better than it did. But that's basically the premise of the game. I'm sorry if I bored you with my voice. I'm not a person big on commentary. This was just a review for this game, and anyways, um, I'm not gonna, as I said, in my videos, I don't expect you to like, comment, or subscribe. I just do this because, well, it's fun. But if you do, it would be appreciated. I'm gonna, let's see. If you want more of this, a comment and a like, and if it gets, well, actually, I'm not even gonna set a goal, but just comment down below and like, and I'll do more of the game, because it's a really fun game. And I'm boring you with my commentary because, as I said, I'm not into commentary myself. But this was a review of Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon Dice Monsters, and it's a good game, and I recommend it 100% because it's different than just normal Yu-Gi-Oh!, which sometimes gets tiresome because of either overpowered monsters or just spammers, like, you know, people who play stuff like Exodia and all that. Like, it just gets tiresome, and to change it up a little bit is a good idea. And this is Kid Buu X, out. Oh, and I forgot, please enjoy the rest of the gameplay, if you want to. I'm not forcing you, obviously. The rest of the gameplay of me facing this one guy. The matches do take a while, also. And that's all I wanted to say. See you guys later.